So if you're a coach who's looking to scale their online business and specifically a high ticket online business, I'm going to share just some things I've seen with, large businesses anywhere from 50K a month all the way from 500K and even seen up to $1 million a month cash collected of these businesses who have a large social media following and what they use for their organic content that has been a huge leverage point for them to actually start scaling to that next level. All right. So the reason I wanted to share this is mainly because, there's lots of mastermind courses, programs, and that's good and all, but this is going to be the quickest shortcut of what I've seen on the inside that has helped book a ton of calls and easily leverage again to get to that next scaling point as well. Anywhere from 50K, 100K, 500K, so on and so forth as well. All right. So when it comes to this specific, content ideas, I want you to understand that one of the most important thing with content ideas for these large organic social media followings, or just this value-based organic following where it's easy to book calls, is most, if not all of these businesses, from what I've seen, use content pillars. Now, content pillars are super important because mainly what's going on is content pillars are a way that's not only strategical, but it's a way to create some sort of structure, which creates more consistency. And when you have consistency, they can compound on that consistency as well, right? So let me talk about how strategical this is and what they use this as a strategy to have content pillars, right? So if you have 3 to 4 content pillars and they all have different themes from what I've seen, I'm going to share what that looks like as well, right? When it comes to these content pillars, it's very strategical because now what they are doing, what I've seen is they come at different angles, and every single day they're getting value from a different perspective, and it's leading them closer to wanting to book that call and lowering that resistance to book a call, therefore getting closer to a sale as well, right? And the reason these content pillars are so powerful when it comes to organizing and keeping structure with your content ideas is because mainly within this process as well, what I've seen is, if you have 3 to 4 content pillars, you can create a structure on a daily basis, right? So say you have content pillar number 1, which I'm going to share as well. And that's going to be anywhere from, you start posting Monday and Thursday depending on what platform you're on. And then content pillar number 2 would be something where you're posting on Tuesday and Friday, right? Content pillar number 3 would be Wednesday and Saturday. And then say you had a 4th content pillar, right, that you share on Sunday. Now what you're doing is you're actually creating consistency with these content pillars. And again, with the strategy, you're coming at different angles. And this has been super helpful because when you pass this on to, a team eventually as you keep scaling, right, to a video editor or, a team who does copywriting for you, so on and so forth, it's going to be super easy for you to actually have a weekly, content calendar, but just one specific day we're just focused for 2 or 3 hours or even more or less to give out to your team as well as you keep scaling from probably 20, 50K, 100K months, so on and so forth, right? So what are these content pillars? Well, the first one that I wanted to share that's been super powerful after seeing what all of these, businesses are doing and seeing them scale. The first one is a mindset shift content pillar. Now, what does that mean? And why do I think this is so powerful? Well, the reason is, why this is so powerful, why it's so important is because what you're doing specifically with this mindset shift content pillar, and what that actually means is you're strategically making sure that you're overcoming an objection and you're creating a new belief, right? Which is why it's called a mindset shift content pillar. And typically these are done through like Twitter threads, carousels, videos and, different, posts as well. But mainly when it comes to, different Twitter threads or kind of just statements out there that you can post in carousels, depending on what type of platform you're posting on. And the reason this is so important is because what I've seen and where they get this data from to create this mindset shift content pillar is, the calls that they're currently having with these businesses, again, doing anywhere from 100K, 500K to $1 million a month cash, right? They're actually using that data to actually start posting on their social media. Right. And so it's super powerful because when they're using that data, to post on their social media, then what they're doing is they're lowering the resistance by creating a new belief and overcoming an objection through their content. Right. So let me give an example of this. Right. So say you had lots of calls and, one of the main objections that you had was, it costs too much. I'd rather just do something else on my own. And it's just been a consistent objection that you or your team, just can't close for some reason. And that's just an instilled belief that they have. Well, they use that type of data, right? And that type of feedback of saying, well, why don't we actually just start posting this on our, on our front of organic content, talking about, why you should actually start investing in yourself, why it's going to take longer to actually do this on your own, and why you're actually saving time and money when investing in a coach, a program, whatever that looks like, obviously, whatever you offer as well. And now what's going on again is on the forefront on the social media following, on the content, you're reducing that barrier, you're persuading these people, you're creating a new belief, and you're overcoming the objection. Therefore, it's easier to book a call, easier to sell that client as well, because they're seeing that on the forefront. Right now, that's just one example of what one of these mindset shift, type of pieces of content pillars that they're using. It's super powerful as well. So use that data and just think of, the customer journey of what the main objections, different beliefs that they have, just so you can have a wide net of opportunity to kind of create this content pillar specifically, so it can be very, very, very beneficial and influential as well. All right, so that's the first one that I found super powerful. I was super astounded when I saw this as well. And again, if you had this like on a Monday and Thursday, just imagine just that, consistency of just boom, 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 and just hitting them with lots of different angles by overcoming a belief, right? The second one that I've seen that's been super powerful is a lifestyle post, right? Now, we probably already heard what this actually, looks like when it comes to sharing your stories, so on and so forth. But again, strategically, say this is a second content pillar, you do this on a Tuesday and Friday, right? You're strategically being vulnerable and you're being super, super, super deep and open, right? And I don't just mean, just being vulnerable in a way that's superficial, but one of these biggest, social media followings that I've seen, again, 100K, 500K plus, right? They're being super vulnerable to the point where they're sharing addictions, they're sharing past relationships, they're sharing what their beliefs are when it comes to, perhaps religion or, even stuff with like mental health, right? And even thing that's going on with their life of struggles, very deep things that's going on in their head. And I found that to be a content pillar that's been super powerful, because at the end of the day, whether they buy or not, or whether they book a call, you're really just lowering down that barrier and that resistance, because at the end of the day, you're getting to the point that everybody is a human being as well. People are just people, and we all deal with the same similar things depending on, it doesn't matter where you're at, is what I'm trying to say, right? And so when you create that, that commonality, then people start relating to who you are as well, right? And that's been super powerful, because it's not just sharing the story for, the sake of sharing the story, but you're really being super open. And you'll find that you'll have groups of people who will actually, in the long term, want to, work with you. And you'll actually find some people who probably don't. And you're kind of just eliminating, the stress of trying to force these people to book a call. But the more relatable you are from sharing your story, the more you're going to actually, be in tune with being able to lower that, resistance as well. Now, it's not just sharing stories from what I found as well. It's also talking about updates with your programs, testimonials, and everything of that nature. And another thing as well that I found has been super powerful with the lifestyle post content pillar, again, think of this as a Tuesday and Friday now, right, is actually making sure that when it comes to this perspective as well, you're probably, sharing stuff that you're affiliated with as well. Right. So again, I've seen people talk about religion and what they're affiliated with. I've seen people talk about a specific brand, different perspectives of like, gyms or fitness, or what their beliefs are with, how they work out, or how they, track calories or don't track calories, or what they believe about, morning affirmations and stuff like that. And if that's a belief that you have, then go all for it, because again, you're going to have people who are going to relate to you and people who are not going to relate to you as well. So this second content pillar I found super powerful, because again, it's getting people to relate with you. And when you're getting people to relate with you, then they're going to get closer to booking that call. And again, this stuff that I've seen with these large businesses with large followings. The third one is giving lots of value. Now, again, you probably heard this before, like just give value, just give value, just give value. But what I found that's been super powerful is, you're giving lots of value and you're giving more than you actually want to give, to the point where, honestly, if they were to actually use some of these lead magnets or these posts or these tips that you have, right, they could probably succeed to a certain point, right, as to, using the free stuff that you have, but they're probably gonna need the accountability and the coaching, from you to actually, and from your program as well, to actually get to that next level, right? Now, I wanna give a generic rule from what I've seen within this process as well. Typically what has worked best is 40% being content pillar number one with the mindset shift, 40% being mainly, with the second content pillar, like the lifestyle post, and probably around 20% with the value, right? Because at the end of the day, like, everybody's giving value. The only thing that's going to make you really stand out from what I've seen is really giving stuff away, right, in exchange for conversations, and also just giving tips that you're already giving inside of the coaching program. Now, one of the biggest things I've found that has been super helpful, again, with these large social media followings and businesses as well that are scaling past 100K, is that the value and tips that they're actually giving away are actually stuff that's inside of the coaching program. It's honestly hard to give that stuff away, but the more they're giving away, the more they're attracting these people to say they're actually standing out as well. All right. So those are the three main concepts I have found that has been super helpful. And again, the reason I wanted to really share this is because when you have, these type of content posts that I've seen that lots of these businesses are using to scale to that next level, you have structure, you have consistency, and then you can compound from that consistency, like I was saying earlier. And then what you can do, because that's the macro, then what you can start doing is you get into the micro, right? Then you can start getting into the copywriting, the video editing, the strategy with hashtags and all these different things as well, like the repurposing. But I've seen that this has been a huge leverage point for, owners and teams and stuff like that to implement this on a weekly basis. And then, this is another time for another day, but then being able to, read that data and go towards what's actually working as well. So that, again, the end goal is to lower the resistance for them to actually book a call, and then being able to actually eventually become a sale, right? Remember, that's the end KPI, right? So sometimes engagement matters, sometimes it doesn't, but mainly what they're doing is tracking that perspective, right? Of within this week, how many calls are booked? How many did we get, how many calls did we actually sell? What's the ROAS, or what's just the KPI that we're hitting, right? And then, going on from there, and just kind of a sneak peek as well. I mean, this has been super helpful because when you have this, then you can start running shout outs, you can start running DM ads and all these different things. And now what you're doing, you're adding to the base and to this funnel as well from what I'm seeing. And then it just becomes a cycle of just booking calls, closing calls, booking calls, closing calls, and then managing the team as well, right? And so I just wanted to test this out, right? So I also did create a couple of tracking sheets for you all to use with these, content pillars, and even like weekly content, tracking with KPI. So if this is something that you want access to as well, and you found that this has been helpful for you, right? Just comment below framework. I'll send that over to you. It'll just be something super easy for you to use. And again, I just simply wanted to share because, I know what it's like to go through the hassle of like all these courses, masterminds, programs. I've kind of just combined all these different things I've seen personally investing over 50K, but seen other, programs and stuff out there, and just kind of these like businesses, and kind of put it into one big thing that I wanted to share for you all, so that you can actually start at least surpassing 50K, going up to 100K, then really scaling on to 500K, so on and so forth as you're building the team as well.